Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So I got a comment requesting to review footage of higher tier players, meaning players who were in Masters or competitive. These players specifically we're going to review are actually members of the Discord, and I asked for footage for them specifically because they just competed in ALGS this past weekend. And well, they're on their way, as you can tell, up to Masters. Now the thing is, I'm going to give a lot of tips, and some may sound a little harsher because, well, I know these guys, and I think they would appreciate me being a lot more blunt. And so that's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and segue to it. Now, they went for a zone here. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to listen to their comms, and I'm going to pause, and I'm going to put on screen when we're pausing, because I want you to listen to their comms and what's going on. They took the zone because it was the best spot positioning-wise,
sniper,
and as well as they're holding the roof. So you can tell this is really great positioning. There's nothing wrong with this, and plus you can tell from their kills so far that they've done really, really solid.
I highly doubt they just walk through that choke right there, because they'll get held out.
I'm gonna try back before he gets called out by zone.
If you hear that they're muted, sometimes I'll remove some of the cursing just because, one, for YouTube's sake, and then two, because they don't want to get fully demonetized.
Yeah, they went back here. They didn't land on you. One swerved on you. One swerved.
Only one?
36 purple on him. Yeah.
It's not bad to occupy space, by the way. Let's go and pause this. It's not bad to occupy space, so you'll notice that one person was really far out. This is a common strat among a lot of pro teams. Two will hold, we call it anchoring. So if you look on the mini map up here in the upper left, there's two individuals who are anchoring and one just kind of floating to kind of feel things out to see if they can get a knock. They almost did, by the way. They almost did, and they were able to capitalize, but they decided to play it safe and they went back to their position. By the way, this is going to be a longer video, so apologize for that. But I think there's a lot of footage that we can learn from here.
We're hard vibing.
Okay, let's pause this because now we have new information. The best spot to play would be around this spot over here. This is probably one of the harder spots to play. If you're stuck in the building, you're going to see why. Now, in hindsight, you never really think about this kind of stuff, unfortunately. And then a big mistake that we just saw here is that everyone ran inside the building. It's never ideal to have every team peek from the same angle. That's really, really difficult to essentially clutch out because now everyone knows where you're going to peek. Essentially, never give up height of the building, never give up your positioning, and you want to make sure to maintain it or go for the more optimal spot. This turns out to be a more optimal spot just because there's more cover and stuff. While this is height, there's just less in. And most of the teams are on the side.
Yeah, we're still safe up here. Those guys on the left have to like play out in the open unless they drop low ground and play the wall in front of us.
So they are splitting where they're looking from, but I still encourage that this would actually be on high.
Dude, you suck with the scout, bro. You're actually terrible, kid.
Now what we're gonna notice happens is that every team is about to collapse on them because having height is ideal.
So hard with a flatline to the scout. So they're swinging left?
Yeah, there's a seer.
No, we cannot let them do that.
This is a good call from the person who's calling some of the comms. They cannot let them move up on the left.
That guy.
It's true, because then they're going to be fully contested. They need to hold the height of the building, though.
I got a good nade on that guy.
I think this here is Sonic.
This. Horizon queuing up. On your door.
Wait, no, she dropped.
Okay, so there's a bit of comms that came in here that the Horizon queued up, but then missed her queue, meaning that her utility to get onto height is virtually gone now. Meaning that they have the advantage in the scenario. They can use her Q against her, or they can ensure that that team pretty much gets what they said earlier, gets put in the dirt.
Drop. Really, you might need to fly up to us.
Sears one.
We're gonna get thirded. We can't. This other team's about to queue up.
Now, there's a lot of hesitancy when it comes to mopping. You're gonna see this as a constant theme. You either have to go full force into something, or essentially back out and go for better positioning. Right now they're opting for not so good positioning because they end up playing inside the building in this crevice, but there's just not enough space to really play. And while there is the risk of the other team coming from behind them, they either need to focus that team, but essentially they're giving the team down below plenty ample time to reset and recover. There's only 2 squads remaining, right? Because that's why there's the concern. You know, the other team literally has to just come in third, and well, that's fearful if you clean up. But if you clean up the team fast enough, well, there's that opportunity. All this is in hindsight. When it comes to a battle royale, you just have to make a firm decision on what you're going to do instead of just trying to play in the middle. A lot of people trying to play very safe, and that usually causes everyone's downfall because you want to play for, instead of placing big bets, you never really have big returns. You'd always just kind of net out in the middle. You don't necessarily really pull far ahead. And it's okay to make mistakes. That's how you learn.
Yes, other team's about to queue up on our back. We need a bunker in the building.
Ideally here they would play outside the building or try to garner as much space as possible.
Horizon on my door.
I can't.
Now,
how'd she open?
Now let's comment on this part. If somebody ever pushes a door and they're by themselves and there's 2 people here, you might as well go outside and wide swing them because they're isolated and then go back and reset if that's the idea. because that's usually a mistake at that point. You can consider that a mistake.
Yeah, like open backwards. I saw that.
But the door looked like it bugged and for some reason opened.
They took the portal back. Shooting ult, shooting ult.
Great comms on this. That was taken out really, really quickly.
The arc inside. We have no doors now.
Now you see why they shoved them specifically. We're going to pause again. We're going to go back to this. Because there's only one person on the door and they really have no cover and they've already cracked him. So at that point, yeah, their best call would be to go inside. But because they're holding different spots and they're not committing to everything, that's really what causes this down.
The arc inside.
It's hard. In hindsight, when you're doing this, you don't ever really get to think about it. It's like so much is happening all at once. So now they're on the low ground, which is where they could have been when they mopped up this team and probably gone up on height. The biggest thing is that when you have a Horizon, you have a Valkyrie, you can get back into height and use positioning, and they also have advantage to really fly around.
I'm batting.
So kind of going from the more aggressive calls,
the other team.
It's going to net out, and you're going to see it later on their ALGS rounds.
You ready?
Yep. And there you go. Good comms in that. See, they can do it.
Just peeking inside on the stairs. I'm going to throw nades in. I'm throwing nades in.
The Wraith was inside.
At this point, they'll shove this guy.
They're stuck.
One on roof.
3. I got fried, bro. One's down here.
Try to take second, bro.
I'm holding up.
Yeah, and then they go for second place at this point, which isn't bad. They made a play. The other team also backed out, and I think they get second place overall.
The solo?
So it's not bad. There's a lot to learn from here. In terms of like, I guess the biggest tip is to, if you're watching this, you want to play better, whether you're beginner, intermediate, advanced, make a play, make a decision, and kind of go bold with it, rather than trying to play safe in the middle. Playing safe in the middle is always going to say, well, what could we have done here? What could we have done here? It's better just to kind of go bold and do something and say, well, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Let's go for height. And then if height didn't work, based on the number of times you get that variable, you learn and improve. So now we're going to go look at the ALGS matches, and then we're going to wrap up at the end with another round from ranked. What we're looking at here now is a round that happened in ALGS this past weekend. They have really great position, they have zone, and they have good positioning overall. I mean, this is, I couldn't ask for a better spot, knowing that this is going to play.
One's out in the white. Bugs close. Flash. I'm killing ult.
This is really good comms. They knocked one, and all they got to take out the ult faster. I don't know why they didn't take out the ult faster. They've done it fast before. This is also a fantastic ult.
Are we swinging this?
Scares the
on the
kill.
catalyst.
Queuing it.
Just start setting up.
Wide right. Are we swinging this?
Scares the kill.
No.
Queuing it.
They secure the kill. Okay, so there's no need for an armor swap here right away, unless they calm for it, because there is a red armor, which isn't bad to get, but right now they need to focus on their kills. So this could be some downtime that they could have shot.
He's cracked. Batting. I have to bat.
I'm watching your left.
Here.
Good focus fire. Overall, this is good focus fire.
I'm popping a Phoenix. I don't have any mech kits.
Knock one.
Falcon solo.
I'm popping a Phoenix.
We have to
This guy gets swing already. Hold on. Don't get too distracted. Don't tunnel vision.
All right, play back here.
And then they
These
reset.
guys are still up here on the rock, on our right.
You can do it, right?
Yeah, I think so. We need to get fences down for visual clutter.
Crony, I have to say, like, he shouldn't need a call for fences. You should always know to be throwing those things down on pretty much CD. You should already have them up for CD. So he already knows it. His IGL called it, but imagine just trying to remove the clutter from the IGL and saying things that you should already know. You should already be doing them. So if we look back, you're going to see a lot of... Crony's not... I don't think he's really a Watson main. Is with your abilities, know where your strengths and weaknesses are and what you should be doing to fill in your time whenever you're not necessarily holding an angle or watching something. And if you have abilities that you can use, try to use them as much as possible within reason, and then call them out if they're going to be effective. Like, don't force Gibby Bubble for no reason. Use it if you're going to try to gain positioning. So you got two squads.
I'm throwing a Moby down out here for cover.
They have what would you consider the better spot here, but the downside of this is that they're going to be focused by both teams naturally. They have the better spot, so both teams are going to naturally push them. They have a team on the right that has the worst positioning and the team on the left that has naturally probably the better positioning. All they have to do is wait for them to fight. So essentially they need to make a play for something. Either they hold close to the left here and then bully the team on the left, or they make sure the team on the right cannot run up for free. The problem is that they didn't focus one or the other, and they kind of let them both.
I have a good heady right here. You guys just need to walk to the left. I can kind of keep these guys at bay.
So the problem with putting pressure on both teams is that well, it's good because it tries to keep both of them at bay. At one point, one of the pressure is going to let up. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is that sometimes by not putting pressure on one team and focusing just primarily on the other team might actually make a dumb decision. Let's say they focus the team that's on the bottom part right here, and the other team decides to say, hey, let's push these guys for free. And then, but you have a little bit of a hold by peeking back and forth when they're going to roll up and see if they're actually going to throw their game. Because if they do, that would be considered a throw on their part because they're not fully committed. So you got to play a little mind games. If you do too much damage on a team that's you hope that it's going to help you, they're going to focus fire you. I've noticed that a lot in high tier lobbies. That sometimes people will not necessarily peek out or focus a certain team unless they want to bait them. So there's two different things. You can bait the team by making it seem like you're not going to focus them, or focus them to see if you can put them in disarray. There's two different ways to go about it.
Yeah, we got this team behind us though, right now. Over here.
Play head peeks on the left. Don't worry. Don't really worry about the team on the right. Just play head peeks. They're destroying Gen. Hop an ult excel now. Gen's gone.
I'm shooting at him.
Okay, this Gen placement was a bit questionable because they're going to be able to see right in the open. Ideally, you want to put it a little closer here. If you're going to have any sort of like utility or anything like that, I want to make sure that it doesn't get shot. It could be used for cover. It could be argued that as well. That's another alternative what you can do here.
Popping another ult XL just in
Stop
case.
him from peeking. I just got the swap.
I need
It's not
both
full,
of you.
it's 75%.
Listen, both of you come watch the team on the left. I'll watch the team on the right.
Okay, alright.
I need roller players over here.
Stun one of them. I saw one on the right.
Sears right behind
They're
us.
bubbling forward.
This is where the mistake is made. So what you'll see here is that Crony and all the team play a little too far open on the right, and they have a bubble to go defensively back and forth in between. So even if they got cracks on them, they're just going to default to their bubble. They should have played closer over to the left and maybe push the team on the left. Or if they're going to fight this in the bubble and go for cracks, you pretty much have to full send it. That's the only thing you can do to pretty much trade. At this point, you are the pinch, you are the sandwich, whatever terminology you want to use. They decided to push you instead, both of the teams at the same time, and there's not much you can do here besides aim for second place and go for additional kill points.
They just hit us on seer scan. We just hit.
We're going to pause here. This is a mistake that happened. So a little wide swing out too far to the right, and the ultimate even separates them out a bit more.
Play right side.
Alright. Got killed.
We just need to focus one team.
Still got third
They're
place.
back.
Not bad. Not bad overall. But they just got sandwiched and just pinched, so there's not really much you can do in that scenario. They did the best they could. You just kind of have to make one choice or the other.
We're in.
Nothing we can do, Bryson.
Just between gold one.
Literally nothing we can do. We're perfectly pinched. There's no way we can make any type of play to like make that any different.
Okay, I'm gonna pause there because this is a hard part when you're VOD reviewing and looking at stuff in hindsight. So it's whenever you have to look at every single leading moment, and this is a tip for beginner, intermediate, and advanced, anybody who's watching. In the moment, once they got to that point, there is nothing they can do. They had to have had the foresight to know what was going to happen 2 or 3 steps ahead. If they look at the team on the right and they know that they're letting them really have the free momentum to push forward, they know the only thing they can do is push that team and just fight them. Or the team on the left completely ignore and let them wrap, and then may have them make the mistake of wide swinging and then fight them. And then the other team is ultimately going to push you. So it's like you have to make very firm decisions, but they didn't go one way or the other. And I think one of them even calls out later here in the footage and says, "Oh, we should have made a firmer decision." And that's the problem why I'm choosing a lot of this footage is that pro players will make the same mistakes that intermediate and beginner players do. When there's more on the line, there's more pressure. These mistakes seem like there's not much you can do, and they're very frustrating across the board. But you have to understand, this is why you see teams like Furia or a team that is a lot more aggressive play for positioning or play for a spot because they know that it'll open up for more opportunities later rather than letting the other teams dictate their positioning. They had a really great spot, and I wouldn't say that not to hold that again. I would say put more Watson fences down, make sure the Gen wasn't out in the open, use a Catalyst ult as soon as, like, let's say you push the Gibby bubble, use a Catalyst ult at that moment to separate you guys out from the Gibby bubble, and the other team at that point has no idea what's happening behind that Catalyst wall, and you have the Gibby bubble for a few seconds to clean up. You just have to literally shove them and take that positioning from them. Or you can put your Catalyst ult in the Gibby bubble, a team that goes forward, you fight the team that's behind you. The Catalyst ult that went out didn't necessarily help them and actually hurt them. And that's where you kind of pick your utility. It's hard when you're looking at this in hindsight because then it becomes a game of chess, and you really have to know 2 steps ahead, and then also the information provided to you in the moment of how you decided to react. So I'm going to show you one of the other clips, and I apologize, Crony. I feel like I'm going to be picking on you, but this is your footage, so hopefully it helps you. And we're going to look at whenever you hesitated heavily in another ALGS match when you guys push. I think it's really, really important. Okay, here we have a really fantastic third party going on.
I can't. 35 flash on
Does a little bit of damage here. We're
Go
going to
on the
skip ahead
bridge.
just
We're
a little
just
bit.
gonna keep walking up.
You guys have the angles and have the positioning and better armors. You did trials. You both have gold. You have the blue. No reason why you shouldn't push here. You should definitely push.
Wait. Caustic inside. Caustic, Falcon side.
Knock Falcon. Queuing up. Horizon.
Horizon.
We'll let this play out for a
Horizon,
second. There you go. Good KP.
Maybe kill inside. I'm gonna look.
Yeah, we should try. I need to loot this box for 2 seconds. Okay, I can't. This guy's staring at me. I'm getting on roof.
So a lot of teams in ALGS are going to pull away consistently. They're not going to want to really fight. That happens a lot in ALGS, and it happens a lot in hard rank. I can't believe you burned yourself out of the way there, but hey, it happens. Okay, so 2 things. You either commit or you don't.
Angles.
This was a decision to commit onto the building.
I was going around.
There's 2 on the stairs. 2 on the stairs. Almost cracked Caustic. In for 50.
I got shot from another team.
Back up.
Okay, so this is hard, and there was a call to back up. You went for the flank. I think you could have called a little more aggressively and take the angle a bit faster and waited and make sure. The reason why you want to calm what you want to do immediately is because your teammate needs to know what your intended goal is. Your comm is a little bit quiet, so if you waited a little longer, you could have gotten the flank and then opened the door and then maybe like 2v1 that person at the door. Those comms can be a little tighter, and that's really difficult. So the comm was made to pull back because right now 1 person is cracked, but 2 people are really healthy right now. Not a bad thing to make the decision to back up if needed, so I respect it.
They're getting fought inside. I cracked a Valk inside. She had a white armor. They're brawling right now. I think they just knocked the Valk.
Now this is a decision to go back and push. You call that 1 is on roof, so the Valkyrie takes roof, and the Catalyst here on the right decides to push
on roof.
I'm going on roof. Trying this guy. Cut him in the back. Cracked. Valk's on.
Okay, so this is a problem here, especially if you're playing a Legend that doesn't have any mobility. They're calling, you called roof, they're pushing roof, but you're pushing in at the bottom floor. There's a lot of problems with pushing down the bottom floor by yourself. You need to climb this wall to climb here. You need to climb on the left side to climb up top. Now, your teammate took a little bit longer to heal because he decided to play a little more aggressively. If the decision is to play aggressive, that means that if your teammate's not healing, you have to go forward and be the front and center and make sure that your teammate is not shot. If your teammate gets shot, then you have the potential of going down. Now you have a 3v2 scenario.
The full 3 man
almost cracked.
Now, there was a knock, meaning that it's a perfect time to reset to assess the situation. 1 person, you're still the healthiest, so you have to push forward.
Another one on your own roof.
I can't really get up there.
So this comm doesn't help. I can't. If you don't know how to get out there, you have to figure out how to get up there. I'm sorry that it's a bit harsh, but if you're playing at like Master and ALGS level, you got to climb up here. You got to get on that roof, man. If you call roof, or you can climb over here and then push top and say hold, reset. I'm getting on roof. I'm getting on roof. Anything to get them to wait for a second. The problem is that if you can't get up there, they don't know what that means.
I cracked this here on roof. I'm selling.
I'm just peeking inside right now.
I cracked the wood on roof, but you're peeking inside. So the downside is that the fight is on the roof, but you're peeking inside, and you're the most healthy. So either we need to put you on the movement legend, and so somebody who knows how to take height, or put you on a legend that like Horizon or something.
I can get angles inside in 2 seconds. The Sears.
So you could climb the backside here.
Has a white armor.
Now you get a good flank, but the problem here. Now, and I'm sorry, this is nitpicking, and I know I'm picking on you, and I apologize, but it's the only effort to get better, is now that you've fought, realize how much time has passed in the fight. The problem is that if you extend a fight too long, whether it's ALGS, Masters, any lobby, you're anticipating a good amount of damage. Beautiful damage, by the way.
Backside out here.
1 down inside, Caustic's 1.
Backside out here.
And then white swing. Good comms.
I find the Horizon.
Right in here.
I'm swinging this guy in the corner. Cracked, dead. There's another one. Sears.
Good cleanup. Now the problem is that this probably wouldn't have resulted in 1 person getting knocked if the play on the roof was a bit more aggressive. But there's always these what if scenarios, right? And it's so hard to dictate what could have happened. But if you play more aggressively and you shave down the time, then at least you have more opportunity to avoid a third party and reset. Because this person's from a different squad. Yeah. Good knock.
Play left. I'm selling.
At this point, you gotta play.
You can shoot this trap.
It's 2v1 here.
I gotta reload both my guns. There's another fight going on over there. We have to finish this quick. I'm going in a second.
So the call was to finish this quick, but if you wanted to finish it quick, that would have happened much more aggressively in the fight to begin with. The fights, overall, the team synergy, whatever is being called, has to be sure of what you're actually going to push and that you're going to make the effort to get up there. And if you can't, then you need to find another means to do it. or somebody in the team needs to heal up when you saw that the catalyst didn't heal up in time. If you notice 2 are down, you pretty much need to go on there and mop it up fast.
Two traps, two
Oh, he's
traps.
swinging. He's on the knock. Nice.
And that could have happened, by the way, before the hesitation here, which is, I know it's scary.
Nice.
There's one. Play life.
You can play life. There's 2v1. Wait for the heal
I'm telling.
and just hold
It's
for a
just
second,
classic. You can shoot this trap.
and then go right back in.
I gotta reload both my
Serious
guns. There's another fight going on over there. We have to finish this quick. I'm gonna.
It's not bad.
I'm
It's
going
fine.
in a
It's not
second.
bad.
Just the caustic. Two traps, two
Oh, he's
traps.
swinging.
So we see they reset,
He's
but
on
the
the
other
door.
team decides to show up here,
Holy
unfortunately.
knock. There's this one on the door. I'm blocking door. He's on the door. On my knockdown.
They're down low too. I'm just gonna try to get there.
I don't think we're gonna be able to. It's a Valk,
Just run
Horizon,
straight- Run
Gibby.
straight west. No.
He does ultimately get to play his life. We'll skip ahead. You'll see how far he gets to go, which is pretty far in general in the game. And you did get some KP, and the fight wasn't bad. I would say the hardest part was the hesitancy in comms and what to push and what not to push, if that's what you're going to do. And this is for beginners, intermediate, and advanced. If you're going to make a decision and do it. And if you don't know how to climb something or execute on it, make sure you say you calm that and make the decision for the team. So then they need to either not get on the roof, somebody needs to heal, you need to back out in the fight, you need to all dog pile into the building. A decision has to be made, and those are learned through team synergy. I think this team definitely has a lot of potential. It's very clear that whenever they are rocking their comms, and you saw towards the end there, whenever they did do it effectively, it really works, but you have to expedite that and speed it up. And it's really hard to whenever you're lacking information, and information is key. And without information, then you don't really know what to do. So calming with teammates is really, really key. If you are playing with randoms and you don't have any comms, try to guess what's given to you. Let's say we have no comms here. We see a horizon queue. That means there potentially is a team on the left instead. And if there was shooting in the building, there's a team in there and your team is separated. So you choose who you want to play next to and be close to, so you can always have, let's say, a 2v1 fight, ideally. So let's look at the last clip now. All right, we're watching top 5 ranked. Looks like we got Lifeline, Horizon, and Valkyrie. So pretty decent comp. Lifeline's a lot more viable in ranked than people get credit for. So they got a team in the low ground. It looks like they got a crack. So everyone should just push that if that's the call to push. The Horizon could pop a Q, let's say right here, and then take the roof or height, and then just beam somebody down and take that positioning. That's the most ideal play here at this point. Now, the problem with that is that if there's a crack and it looks like 2 people move in on it, there's 1 person lagging behind right now. Every second matters. I know it seems like I'm nitpicking, saying, oh, well, they came in right after, but the Horizon Q should have already gone up, and they should be taking it together. There's the ult. The Horizon's using her Q to go up right now.
I'll back up to the zip.
And they back out. So the problem with backing out here, and I want to highlight this, is that they put the pressure, they got the cracks, and they're resetting. The ultimate is utilized to scare, and it's as a last resort. No Bangalore is going to ult whenever it's always usually in a panic, or unless they're pushing and building aggressively. In this scenario, they're not pushing and building aggressively, they're running away. And look what happens in this scenario. Because they weren't firm in the decision, they got blasted in the back. There should be no surprise that this happened. Oh, look at that visual clutter. We'll go to pause again here in a second. And this is what causes their downfall. If you're going to make a play off a push, then you have to make a play off a push. If they don't, assume that once those shots are already taken place and 5 squads remaining at this size of a zone, that somebody's going to third party you. So there really is no shot that this really happened. It's always harder to see in hindsight. Always. Trust me, even when I'm playing ranked, it's always hard to see it. Like, you look at the VOD, you're like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. In the moment, it doesn't make any sense. It's because of the perception of time. And we go back and look at this again, and they've clearly have won a lot of fights. So again, I'm nitpicking because I'm looking at the worst moments, and these players clearly have a lot of good moments going on for them as well. Is that once they decided to push on the lower ground, which is what they're all doing right now, we'll count how long it takes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it took around, I mean, nitpicking, but it really, when we're counting out loud 10 seconds, but the reality is those 10 seconds meant everything. It meant that they could have popped a battery, 1 person was further behind, the queue was over to the far right, maybe Carney could have taken the queue up and flew towards and screamed, I cracked him. That's a lot of time to give up height to push a team. If you're going to make the decision, make the decision. If you're not going to make the decision, hold up height and then wait. This is a very, you can call it a very greedy play once you get the crack, but at the same time, it's not bad. This is the downside of a battle royale and giving tips, is that you look at, like, it's like seeing alternate realities constantly playing out of what could occur. In one reality, you push, you take this team and you take their positioning, or you hold up height, battle the team that's going to try to push you later, and you grief this team that maybe has to run away from zone. A lot of different variables. Play a variable, see how it plays out, and see what works for your own personal team and synergy. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. A little bit different of a series. Hopefully you understand why seconds really matter, how it really plays out in higher tier lobbies and ALGS and competitive. Also, shout out to Crony. Thank you so much, man, for letting me use your footage and from your squad. I know I did a lot of nitpicking, but hopefully it's very helpful as well. Appreciate all of you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Crony, thank you.